So I'm going to be scrolling through an ETO file on screen and kind of highlighting things here and there. So timestamps do exist. This is probably going to take minimum a minute, but we'll see actually how long it takes. So basically, what you're seeing here is essentially the text of the ETO file, and basically we're playing a game of how many lines you need to add in minimum to get a mystery working and functional. So again, this doesn't include any mechanics. It's literally just starting with an ETO file given by PERM again. So note that this is on PERM. This is a PERM edited file, graciously handed to us by the PERM team. And yeah, I mean, just to say, I think you do need the name, but I mean, you're usually going to start with the name. Anything that's text-based, you should usually just get through, but I'll explain that later if we talk about custom mystery designing. Author is not needed, but I figure here, but really it's the images. So there are 4 or 5 images, I think. Let me see, let me just make sure I'm looking at the directory right now. 4 images. First is the icon, which is a relatively small image. Again, you'll note that I didn't even put anything else. I don't need to actually go back on that. Restricted locations. I forgot if this is base World of Horror. I don't make a lot of mysteries. But card A and card B, again, I'm going through this just in case anyone's new, are essentially, usually, I don't think this is PERM. You are given, I know you're given up to, I think, 2 custom things that you can give to the player. But obviously PERM expands on that. But if you only need 1 or 2 bonus things, whether they're status effects, curses, so on and so forth, then they're here for you. But again, if you don't employ them anywhere, they don't appear, so you don't have to worry about it. I didn't touch any of this text, by the way, so that's perfectly untouched. But the second piece of artwork is the splash art. This appears when you click the mystery and go in, so you can no longer back out, and you see an image. I'll let you know because this is literally the bunny if it isn't part of the thumbnail. But something I also found out, because again, I think I've only made like 2 or 3 mysteries, is that you need text 1, 2, 3, or 4. I didn't notice it before because normally I introduce this. So again, this is the text that appears when you pick a mystery on the left side of the screen. Again, I'll note this as we move on. Already 2 minutes, but the third image is the background that shows when you're in the mystery. So this is very variable, but if you're just making out, and I highly recommend at least tinkering with a town mystery. So if you're in town, this is what appears in the background behind the text above the locations that you can click on and investigate. And then kind of straightforward, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 locations. This number is the investigations in order. So I picked school for the first one, downtown for the second, downtown for the third. I usually put in text. I don't know what happens if I remove this text, but I just put it there just to be safe. So, I mean, if nothing else, just put like some random message. And as we move down, I think there's at least 1 more. Again, all this is untouched except for this part, which is the ending CG that appears when you complete the mystery, but it's not the splash screen that appears and shows you all the things you get after the mystery. It is the ending, and it shows basically, as this says, ending text that appears on the right side. Again, I'll let you know when we get there. Otherwise, not really much else to say. Extended modding mystery belongs to PERM specific things, but I haven't touched anything yet. But if you want to tinker with it on your own, you probably already know more than me. So as we take this off the screen and we get into our run, because I actually made a mistake before, yeah, we'll move on. So we're going to slowly work on a mystery, whether or not it's one that I actually want to create and make. I guess we'll see, but as we get a Herald Scars run with Moriko, I mean, I could just play through, we'll just play through this run. Yeah, we'll just play with our template mystery and then slowly build on it as kind of the finale to the series, because I think I've worked on almost everything at this point during this series, or at least touched upon everything at this point. Strength, knowledge, dexterity, Takushi-san, light, and maybe a second mystery, but no second encounter. I'm shrugging in real life. That's all I have to say for the moment. I mean, we will immediately see the mystery. So something to note here is that the icon I think it primarily appears down here, and so I just made like a black square. It's actually like a black square with a white pixel with another black 1 pixel of square, but you get the point. And then you'll note that there's actually text here, so it's funny to note that I often forget about this. Everyone always knows about this, so I often don't actually add the intro that's here. And so it becomes really, really sad. Also interesting to note is that it shows you where it is on the board, I'm pretty sure. So note that template is on the top left. If we go in, it should be around the top left as well. Yeah, it is. So as we kind of just walk through the very base construction of Terrible Trial of a Torn Template Mystery. Yeah, so here's the placeholder intro text that I noted at the beginning of the video. Here's the what's probably going to be the thumbnail if I remove the mouse for the moment, but I think I used all 4 text boxes. If you need more, I don't think you can just manually expand, but for the most part, you should only need about 4 pages of text to introduce your mystery. My chair is complaining. Here's the background image, by the way. Again, it's literally the four different colors you can use, the bottom ones being the 2-bit. These are not the actual colors. Don't try to copy paste with the screen cap here because it will not be correct. I don't remember the hexadecimal colors, but I'll let you know when the time comes. And then, as always, the intro text. So, yeah, so that we saw basically we saw 3 images so far. The splash screen awaits us, but until we get to the end of the mystery, well, we won't actually see it. So, but yeah, without further ado, I think this is going to be the finale to this PERM series. Even though I might just be doing more PERM later on, I'll probably call it something else. But I have yet to decide, because I have 3 ideas, and the third one is really not as focused on PERM than it is on something else about World of Horror. But whether or not I actually do that, again, you can essentially just treat it as like a 33% chance to see something of the 3 ideas in my head. But if nothing else, there might just be a filler video tomorrow. But until that moment, we'll see. So, as we go through the mystery here, that being said, so I think we have, if I were to count, and if I'm including my own mystery in that count, as we go back onto the topic of custom mysteries in World of Horror specifically, I think there are 4 mysteries? That can't be. I must be thinking of characters instead. I think there are 3 mysteries in existence in real life that use PERM. I want to say 4 for some reason though, but as we get so this is the slide image that appears. I think you can actually make it bigger if you want, and well, not as obviously, but you can also you can customize a lot of things, especially with PERM. But if I were to show, so if you saw the very beginning of the video and you saw the ETO file, the essentially the same lines here. I should have actually named the intro text differently to kind of show you which corresponds to which, but this corresponds to the endings for ending A. And yeah, not really much else to say here. It is what it is. And then the splash art appears again, but it's not like you may need to make a second one because the same one should appear. So, yeah, that's pretty much the video. But, I mean, we're going to go through a run because I like going through World of Horror runs. So the rest of this is kind of more base advice here and there. We're more on Scars, right? Yeah, we're on Scars. This is, yeah, if we talk about base World of Horror stuff, Scars Moriko is, should be a pretty cruisy run. You shouldn't really struggle in a run like this on Harbinger difficulty, even on Harbinger difficulty, but maybe weird things happen. By the way, taxis, mermaid bulletin, and cicadas. I think we'll just do cicadas taxi. We can burn our way in out of mermaids, and I forgot what the 5th mystery was, but it's fine for the moment. But yeah, Moriko starts with the weapon. The weapon's pretty good for her. She has perks for the weapon, and those are pretty much the 2-3 parts of the vanilla sundae that make up a character's objective strength in World of Horror. Let me rephrase that. On Harbinger of Doom difficulty, a character having a weapon and having perks that both mesh together, and I think there's one other thing, yeah, stats that kind of mesh together with the perk and any bonuses they get, are the 3 pillars of a World of Horror character. You can add other stuff to them that can change things or add mechanics to a character that make them more dynamic, usually through PERM, but if you're working with base World of Horror custom content that is not PERM, then you can still make a dynamic character, especially since you can assign them events as well. It just might not feel as well. It would only not feel distinct to someone who has over like 100 gameplay hours in World of Horror. Let me repeat that. You would have to be playing more than 12 differently designed base characters and custom characters of an even spread to feel kind of the sameness at some point. And even then, I would argue that you can make it probably around, if I'm just ballparking it, about 12 different custom characters that all function and feel different-ish to play to an extent. Again, I've talked about before how, I guess, the gameplay strategy of the current version of World of Horror on Harbinger difficulty. Again, I'm being very specific with noting all of that in one sentence, that you can kind of make a general strategy and just go with it. The problem is it doesn't account for every situation that you may find yourself in. So while you might have like a 75-85% win rate on Harbinger Doom difficulty on average, I'd argue it could be higher. And I actually have seen, I know more than to players of World of Horror that can certainly manage more than an 80% win rate for certain, which means they're probably really at a 90-95% win rate. I mean, if you stop and think a lot of the time, you can often just get yourself out, unlike me, who probably has like a 25%, 20% win rate. It's been dropping because I also just brain fart a lot of the times, but as I don't level up for like 80,000 hours, yeah, I'm just autopiloting and do what I do. Now, that being said, half of the time I just spaghetti a run into Oblivion. I tell you that I'm about to make a risky choice, and I fail the risky choice. Otherwise, there are more than a few things you can go through, and even then, definitely more than a few players just have fun with the game on Harbinger difficulty, even so, and it's pretty fun. Whether or not you want to use suit, or whether or not you see the opportunity and employ pseudo infinites. Why am I bracing, by the way? Or you hold on, let me just focus for a moment. You could use the blessed shell in the taxi encounter, which is kind of funny to say lore-wise, but basically, you can general strategy your way into a high win rate in World of Horror. You can definitely win over 50% of your runs if you're at least using your brain to some extent. Even though I say I'm autopiloting, I'm using my brain more to some extent. So again, I have no excuse, but that's me. So, and I make tips. I made videos for World of Horror, and can do so and have done so for other games. So if I can do it, a common thing I like to say on this channel is that if I can do it, I'm pointing in real life as if you can see my finger. You, the viewer, can do it. Also, we are missing a bit of reason here, but our doom is a little high. So what we're actually going to do is tree for funds and grab 2 packs of cigarettes. Survivor's Guilt is not going to be fun, but I don't really have a choice in the matter because I need to make use of the short reason heal we're getting. Although a lot of the taxi checks, it might be even, but I feel like I take more stamina damage during this part of taxi. So as we take over the wheel and drive right through, we're going to find out. So move over to the right. We do have the map equipped. That's all I have to say for the moment. And I don't think I often go through the lake like this. Unfortunately, I'm going absolutely insane. So as we fail another strength check, now that being said, I think we do use the shotgun. I might even bless shell, but I guess we're gonna find out. Okay, we can lose reason there, but I think we can even, yeah, with scar. I was going to say we can brace, but then I was like, oh, we're on scars. But whether or not we hit all of these attacks is a different story. Still want to do 3 attacks. Might as well put in the effort to go. In fact, if I want to hit all these attacks, I really should spread out the accuracy. So, with deft handling, this was possible, I believe. This is not deft handling and going crazy. Also, just something to note really quickly, even though we're like 13 minutes into the video at this point, but as I just fire off this launch sequence, or launch this sequence, oh my goodness, we're in pain. Do we have anything else, actually? I don't. Well, we can trade, hold on, let me focus for a moment. We can trade stamina for doom. We just go for broke, I guess. If we hit all of these, it's great. If we don't, we have to look for a desperate play, which is going to be a very, very risky thing to do. This is 12 into 8, so 64, about 80%. Gonna go for it. And if we lose here, so be it. But thankfully, 80% is real for the moment. But so what I was trying to mention before, that's why we're on Herald, so double the pain, double the power. Fetid fumes as well, so rip my rest, but as we have Bath for the moment, that's... No, but we don't have Bath. I'm going absolutely insane. Well, off we go. I think we just die here. So, Mermaids into Bulletin. I would normally take Bulletin first, but I made my choice. If that was the case, if this was going to happen to me, I should have taken Cicadas fourth and Bulletin first instead, but shrug. Okay, so what I wanted to say is that oftentimes I'll make mistakes. If it sounds like... How do I word what I want to say correctly? I'm going to heal reason here as well, but... I mean... Yeah, I shouldn't have rolled dexterity. I forgot it was a dexterity check, or I didn't remember, whatever you want to say, but we rolled a 9, so shrug, right? But, as we brace, we can go for this, right? 30 power, basically, if it sounds like I'm knowledgeable in something, it could just be something goes over my head. That's all I'm trying to say. Whether it's a custom mystery, custom event, custom character, or any custom content in World of War, just know that there is some degree of I might just make a big oopsies. Especially if it's something that I, thought I read over or should be somewhat obvious strategy-wise or whatnot. And, yeah, things don't happen. I think I just go for broke here. 90%, I mean, I know I'm gambling a lot, so eventually we're going to miss one of these. In this case, this is a 90%. True 90%. 100% attack, 100% attack, 90%. But yeah, this is... We have fitted fumes, but I guess we'll just go for the restless bonus early. You shouldn't take this risk, by the way, so I'm telling you right now, this is a risky play to do. You should just rest regardless, but we can take orange juice, because orange juice is reason, and the long pig steak is stamina. But, yeah, if it sounds like I say something that sounds like I know a lot more than I should, or not, yeah, I should know more than I should, and it's like, oh, Jordan might be right about that, I guess that is something to think about, whether it's a strategy, again, any kind of custom content. The worst of it is if I just get something completely wrong, but sometimes oftentimes I often look over something that I either remember later on, even on my own, or really anything else, really, so... It could be a whole host of variables. That being said, it's not like my hundreds of hours in World of Horror doesn't do anything. I am of the belief that, time isn't as... how do I word this correctly while I'm taking perks here? Time is not as much as proof of skill as actually having knowledge or skill, but at the same time, yes, I do recognize it more than someone who doesn't believe in that. So I'm in the middle ground, basically, or... I'm in the disbelief, but not extreme disbelief. Also, we have a bunch of Doom here, so time to just do 16 damage right out the clock. I'm not even tired. I don't know why I said the phrase. I'll run out the clock. I mixed up two things. Oh my goodness. Which is, so if you didn't see the last video at the time of this video, that was, I mean, just literally the last video I released before this World of Horror video, I was pretty tired. I think I just said, like, a random name, and I was like... my sentences were right off the block. Anyway, Bulletin, by the way. This is Bulletin, right? Am I going crazy? I think we just want to run. We have 63% Doom. I want to rest at the lighthouse, though. But we do need to visit the forest twice, because otherwise we're in a lot of pain. So, that being said, we could just run into something and just be in pain anyway. But since we are Moriko at the moment, and we have not fast... I'm not tired, I'm just my brain, but... yeah, we're Moriko, so we get to do whatever we want for the moment. Desperate Struggle. Guaranteed? Yeah, guaranteed. Guaranteed. Should just put in a strong there to be super safe, but I've messed up my math before. I know that because I've literally messed up my math before in the last, like, 5 episodes. So, it's not good. Oh, max threat level village, but I'm too lazy, so... Wow! Just back-to-back encounters. So this is what I meant when I sometimes mention that you can just run to back-to-back encounters. So while you cannot run into... most of the time when you're investigating a location 2 to 3 times back-to-back, you're not going to run into another encounter. Again, I think the correct metaphor that is... You can treat World of Horror like or the town map or the investigation map like a deck of cards, and each location is a deck of cards that has events and enemies in it. So with that to help you visualize things, essentially when you draw a card, oh, we have hunger, so we just got a thing. But when you draw a card, if you draw an enemy card, then the next 2 draws from that deck will not be enemies, usually. In this case, I use the... cut artery. Really? At the end? Cut artery? I think we might just die here, but we're gonna walk forward because we can get out of this. But, yeah, I sometimes mention something like a game master can just throw in an enemy if they so choose. So, I mean, that's what I mean. And the metaphor there is that, for example, on Ath, you could just run into the Glitch Magician, I believe. That's all I have to say. Like, yeah. Anywho. So with Lighthouse, so what we actually want to do here is that we need to keep this long pig steak on us. I don't want to use the blessed shell, funny enough. We have 2 bullets of ammo, by the way. So we should take the handcuffs out. We do have Toxis on. But what I want to do is actually hold on to this level up, but rest a bunch at the lighthouse. So, if we do that, we should be able to survive. And we don't... Well, actually, we have all 3 stamina checks, so never mind, I lied. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we have a cut artery. Is cut artery guaranteed? I thought cut artery was not guaranteed. Yeah, it is guaranteed. So... We should be able to survive this. Do we have the 6th floor? I don't think we... Yeah, we have the 6th floor. Maybe, actually, we might not actually survive this. Well, off we go. Because even if I level up here, it's not like I can double my strength, and obviously my strength, my dexterity and knowledge are too much. So the thing about the reason why I really just bleh on cut artery is because it is guaranteed stamina loss. Unless it's like not guaranteed, I feel it's pretty high proc rate, but not much I can do now. If we run into Takushi-san, we can trade a lot of reason, but so yeah, here's the thing. So we can actually do a thing here. Unfortunately, I think if I brace, we can do this. So what I mean now is that actually we have 2 sets of handcuffs. I'm going absolutely insane. So 15 HP. The thing about this is that I have to actually switch back to it. So I think we have a reason check. Basically, I should be able to survive this run is what I'm trying to say. But I am going crazy. So do I try to do this? This is a really tricky situation. I don't need to do this. I think I can brace, but I'm just going to do this just to be fair. Basically, just know I can survive this run. But the thing about this is that we need to be able to handcuff as I launch this sequence. So I think, yeah, this is real. So no, I misclicked. Yeah, we should have been able to survive this run. I'm actually gonna library notes and look for something. If we don't get anything, so be it. But again, I didn't need to do that. I could have just braced and then walked up the staircase because I believe this is the last floor. No, actually, it wasn't the last floor, so never mind. I think I needed to do a thing. I mean, I can look back at this in review. So without further ado, not really much else to say. I'll be working on the custom mystery. I don't know how long it'll take though. It shouldn't take me more than a month, but I guess we're gonna find out.